And so today I want to dedicate this video to Uncle Mike, also known as Mike Dekle. He was a great songwriter, and I want to talk about getting in the room with Mike and the perseverance it took to get there, but then also just kind of the story of Mike, I guess, from my perspective. I'll start with the good stuff, before we'll go back to the perseverance and what I had to do to get in the room. But Uncle Mike was great. Great songwriter. He had a way with words, and he was, I don't really even know how to say it. I guess the old school word was a wordsmith, I guess. He had a way of saying things that I hadn't really heard them said before, which is kind of cool, and it was neat. And you could say something. We had a rule in the room that was, no matter who was in the room, because he would bring in artists and songwriters I didn't know, and vice versa, and we'd write together. But the rule was to check your ego at the door, and don't be scared to say anything. And I think that's very, very important, because it doesn't matter how hot the tier is, right? I remember the first time I wrote with him, I was like, And what you learn is everybody's the same. There's levels to the game, of course, but the calmer you are and the more you feel in place, the less out of place you really are. So anyway, Uncle Mike became to me not just writing some great songs with him and learning some things about songwriting and how to pitch and what to do. He really became my mentor, though. Life mentor. It was great. It was, like, again, we all call him Uncle Mike for a reason, and I'm sure I'm not the only one with this story about him. But you could literally, I could call him, nothing to do with songs, nothing to do with writing, just life in general. And he had a way, when you're in a room with someone, you're not really thinking about, oh, I'm writing with this guy who has these #1 hits. You're in the moment, you're in the moment, you're with this guy. And so you just make the best of every second that you're there, But when it comes to life, Mike was obviously further along than me, and he had ways of seeing things and saying things that really, really, really made a lot of sense to me. So I would call him when I was having some issues, and my life was kind of going up and down. So anyway, I would like to thank Uncle Mike for always being there for me and just giving me someone to roll life off of, I guess, not just music. So, cheers to Uncle Mike. And song you hear playing in the background we wrote, and the second verse is about chorus, and really referencing my grandfather at the time. And we hope, I want to get the song cut for you, Uncle Mike. I'm going to do my best to do that. So, back to the perseverance part. So Uncle Mike used to come in my studio in Pigpen. We opened in '02. I probably started working with Mike around, if I'm guessing, 2008-ish, 2010, somewhere in that ballpark. And so I would engineer some of his vocal sessions and work with him and send the stuff off to Nashville so he could get it mixed, because he used to make his own CDs to pitch the songs. So that's how he kind of knew me. But I brought it up to him one day after I'd worked with him a few times. I was like, hey man, it'd be great to write together, That thing. He wasn't really hearing that right then, right? So I just kind of kept on him, I'm texting him, every now and then, like, hey man, it's still, it'd be cool, And so then you fast forward probably a decade, honestly. And one of the songs I had, it started kind of making a little headway. I sent it to him, kind of got his interest a little bit. And then I started booking the Winterville Marigold Festival, the music part of it. So it's, day long worth of bands. And I talked him into letting me do a writer's round in the middle to kind of break up the bands and give people kind of a time to chill out. And so I sneakily put myself beside Mr. Mike Dekle. It wasn't an accident, it was on purpose. And I remember after we finished the first song, he just leaned over in my ear and he was like, "You damn good songwriter, boy, let's write." And from then on, it's Uncle Mike and me. So hey, let's check this out. I'm going to play a little piece of this in the background to say cheers to Mr. Uncle Mike. In the back porch is made for when the day is done, to sit back and relax with the cold. There's two things that'll never stop around here. That's front porch coffee and back porch. Cheers, Uncle Mike. I am pretty sure this was the last session we had together. Man, Mr. Josh Brickert. And yeah, love you.